And welcome to the Sports Roundtable for today. We're going to bring it to you a little differently today. We're a little short-staffed for this roundtable episode, so we're going to do it from our news desk for this Saturday. And glad you joined us. And it's been a very exciting week in high school sports as volleyball and fall baseball is starting, including girls tennis starting to wrap up their seasons, and football on the second half of the season now starting to wrap up the regular season here in just a few weeks, heading into district tournament play. We're going to preview the standings of what they look like right now for those district tournaments a little later, and of course give you some results from last night and give you some information going forward with some local and state rankings as well. So the fall season really kicked in. The temperature dropped greatly last night for certainly the football game, so we're certainly into the fall season now with it looks like with the temperatures. So a lot to look forward to here in the next few weeks in high school sports as the fall season's starting to turn that corner and to start to wrap up here pretty soon. So a lot going on here in the next few weeks in high school athletics. And we want to give you a heads up on the games that we have aired and will air here on YHC coming up. Charleston and Kennett, the game we did last night, will replay Sunday at 4 right here on YHC, so you can look forward to that replay from last night, Sunday at 4 p.m. We'll have it uploaded to cmosportzone.com this weekend as well. And you can look forward to next week, next Friday night, Park Hill Central at Dexter, and we'll bring that one live to you from Charles Bland Stadium here in Dexter. That'll be at 7 p.m. Friday night. And the replay will be next Sunday at 4 p.m. So a very pivotal Class 3 matchup. That's a district matchup between those two. And we'll see how those size up in the standings a little later on in the show. And also next Friday, we're going to be down in Kennett for Malden and Kennett. That will replay next Sunday at 7 p.m. and next Tuesday at 6:30. The Dumpling County Championship taking place next Friday night in Kennett. And let's go ahead and touch on some football games from last night. And in a game that we brought to you last night here on YHC, Kennett defeated Charleston 47-8 in a rout. The Kennett Indians over the Charleston Blue Jays. And we've got some footage to show from that game. And we'll take a look as we see here early on in the game. The first score, Kennett putting 6 on the board really quick with a quick strike. Running touchdown there. Now we see Edward Wilson break out in the open field for a long run, putting the Indians up 14-0. He had a big game rushing and passing in the contest, Edward Wilson. And as we see here, Charleston's biggest gain of the night as Ewing takes down the left sideline, unable to get any points on that drive, and Kennett coming back now with a long pass deep down the right sideline and into the end zone. A great pass by Wilson and a catch there in the end zone. And here we see Wilson with a fake handoff going along the right side and in for the touchdown, making it 28-0 at that point. And now we have a long run along the left side for Kennett. This is certainly the longest gain of the night, coming in the fourth quarter, as it was the last score for the Indians, putting that game away last night in Kennett. So certainly decisive victory for the Kennett Indians. Charleston, a very young team this year, practically playing a JV squad out there at the varsity level. So certainly a tough way to go if you're going to be playing freshmen and sophomores at the varsity level. But if they can hang tough and get through the season, certainly got some talent to work with for the next few years. And let's take a look at some other games from last night as East Prairie defeated Portageville, come back on their homecoming night to beat Portageville, and certainly a big win for the East Prairie Eagles on their homecoming night. They were down up to 2 scores, I believe, in that game. Come back and won in the end over Portageville. And also Dexter over New Madrid County Central, 28-19. Dexter winning that conference matchup and also a district matchup last night over New Madrid, and Dexter wins a share of the, I believe the conference schedule has wrapped up. The CMO Central Conference I believe it's a three-way tie between Dexter, New Madrid County Central, and Crothersville. They all kind of beat up on each other there. Dexter losing to Crothersville, New Madrid beating Crothersville, but Dexter beating New Madrid. So a three-way share for that conference title this year. And moving on, Malden over Chaffee, big 68-8. No problem for the Malden Green Wave, as it's been that way for much of the year. I think they had 49 points at the end of the first quarter and just rolled over Chaffee last night, running away with the SEMO, I think it's the SEMO South Conference title over Chaffee. So the Malden Green Wave, the Green Machine, you might as well call them the Green Machine, Malden Green Wave, rolling through their season so far this year. 2 games remaining. They've got Kennett and Dexter on the schedule. Our larger schools, that's probably the toughest games of their schedule with Kennett and Dexter. We'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks. But they've just been completely dominant so far this year, especially among, they've been comparable to Crothersville over the past few years as they've dominated their schedule, but I don't think we've seen the domination among the small schools as we've seen Malden over their competition over the last handful of years. They've just been completely dominant, and look forward to make a great run in the playoffs coming up. And also, we got Crothersville over Kelly, 60-18. Decisive victory for Crothersville last night over the Kelly Hawks. Hayti over Scott City, 28-14. Cape Central over Farmington, big, 55-13. Cape Central getting a Class 4 victory over Farmington last night. And Jackson defeated Sykeston, 42-0. Jackson got off to a slow start, 7-0 lead at halftime. Sykeston really come out and played a completely different game, a lot of different formations, a little trickery, throwing off the Jackson Indians a bit. And Jackson dominated the second half, scoring 35 points to run away with that 42-0. Jackson with that victory. And also, Poplar Bluff got an impressive victory over Maplewood Richmond Heights, 48-20. Poplar Bluff got their quarterback back, Cameron Meisner, and also B. Wynn, running back for the Mules, had a big night. So Poplar Bluff decisive over Maplewood Richmond Heights last night. St. Genevieve defeated Perryville 34-20. And St. Genevieve, one of the top teams in Class 3 in the area. And down in Northeast Arkansas, Rivercrest defeated Piggott 43-30. And also Salem defeated Rector 38-8. And those are your results from last night in high school football. So really it turned off cold. These teams had to really adjust to the temperature last night. It was probably at least 20 degrees cooler than it's been for the previous games for the past few weeks. So certainly a temperature change. Had to adjust to that last night, but certainly got a little nippy out there around low to mid 50s. It was last night, which it's probably typically been high 60s or 70s. So certainly a change in the temperature in last night's games. And we're going to take a quick break and be back with more coming up.
NFL Red Zone, the channel that brings you every touchdown from every game on Sunday afternoons. Watch the most exciting moments like never before, live in HD. Every touchdown from every game, live on one channel, NFL Red Zone.
Always on the go. Take the best in TV entertainment with you with New Wave to Go. Now you can enjoy your home television service everywhere, anytime on your laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Watch your favorite channels and sporting events live via the internet. Even access your home DVR to enjoy your recorded shows and movies or to set up future recordings. Prices start at just $12.99 a month. So call us today and ask about New Wave to Go. Another innovative service brought to you by New Wave, your local communications experts.
And now let's take a look at a few polls, both locally and statewide, for some high school football. And this is SemoSportsZone.com's top 15 poll for high school football this week, as Cape Central keeping their #1 ranking as they defeated Jackson a few weeks ago at 6-1. Jackson at 6-1 at number 2. 3, Park Hill Central still undefeated as they won last night, go to 7-0. Valley Catholic an undefeated 7-0 at number 4. 5, Malden. 6, St. Genevieve. 7, Poplar Bluff. 8, Sykeston. 9, Farmington. 10, Caruthersville. 11, Dexter. 12, New Madrid County Central. 13, East Prairie. 14, Kennett. And 15, Portageville. That rounds out your top 15 poll from SemoSportsZone.com. And moving on to the state rankings for this week, does not reflect last night's games. Class 1 this week, Valley Catholic at number 1. 2, Cass Midway. 3, Western. 4, Miller. 5, Osceola. 6, Hamilton Penny, which moved down quite a bit. I think they were second last week's poll with a loss. They moved down to 6. 7, West Platte. 8, Marceline. 9, Jasper. And 10, Salisbury. So Valley Catholic holding on to that #1 ranking as they've been all year. In Class 2, Lamar still on top at number 1, the 2-time defending state champs. 2, Stratford. 3, South Callaway. 4, East Buchanan. 5, Mountain View Liberty, which moved down a bit. I think they were at 2nd or 3rd, and then moved down to 5 with a loss. 6, Lutheran North. 7, Lafayette County. 8, Malden, undefeated 6-0, still at number 8. Or at 7-0 now after last night's game. 9, Brookfield, and 10, Brentwood, rounding out the top 10 for Class 2. Now in Class 3, Maryville on top at number 1. 2, California. 3, Park Hills Central. 4, O'Hara. 5, John Burroughs. 6, Mountain Grove. 7, Blair Oaks. 8, Ava. 9, Oak Grove. And 10, Manette. And Park Hills Central moving up each week in that poll up to number 3 this week. And in Class 4, Webb City still on top at number 1. 2, Jeff City Helias. 3, Carl Junction. 4, Kearney. 5, Westminster Academy. 6, Miller Career Academy. 7, Afton. 8, Platte County. 9, Cape Central. And 10, Hannibal. Cape Central still in the top 10 there at number 9. Now in Class 5, Fort Osage at number 1. 2, Webster Groves. 3, Staley. 4, Winnetonka. 5, Willard. 6, Jackson. 7, Park Hill. 8, Fort Zumwalt North. 9, Liberty North. And 10, Carthage, which Jackson moves down from number 2 from last week's poll to number 6 after taking the loss to Cape Central. And those are your football state rankings for this past week. We'll have a new poll coming out probably Monday or Tuesday this next week. And moving on to volleyball state rankings. They release these every other week, and this is the second week of these first rankings released. Winona at number 1 in Class 1. 2, Bismarck. 3, Leopold. 4, Santa Fe. 5, St. Vincent. 6, Green Ridge. 7, Osceola. 8, Sparta. 9, Bernie. And 10, Sacred Heart. So 2 Southeast Missouri teams there with Leopold and Bernie in Class 1. Class 2, St. Paul Lutheran. 2, Fatima. 3, Lutheran St. Charles. 4, Mountain View Liberty. 5, Stratford. 6, Woodlands. 7, Fairgrove. 8, Arcadia Valley. 9, Valley Catholic. And 10, Adrian. So a couple teams there with Woodland and Valley Catholic here in the southeast region. They're in Class 2. Class 3, Jeff City Helias at number 1. 2, St. Francis Borgia. 3, St. Pius out of Festus. 4, Village of Shin. 5, Lutheran South. 6, Dexter. 7, St. Pius of Kansas City. 8, North County. 9, Duchesne. And 10, Windsor. So Dexter still in that top, or in the first poll in the top 10 in Class 3. And in Class 4, Liberty at number 1. 2, Ozark. 3, Lee Summit West. 4, St. Joseph Academy. 5, Lafayette. 6, Lee Summit. 7, Francis Howell. 8, Nixa. 9, Coruscant. And 10, Carl Junction. And those are your volleyball state rankings. The second of 2 weeks. They'll release a new poll next week for volleyball. And we're going to take another break, and we're going to be back and talk about some other sports that's happened, some happenings in the area, and also talk about the district standings for high school football. We've got 2 more regular season games remaining, and after that we're entering to the district tournaments. There are district tournaments of 8 teams, single elimination, 8-team tournaments, starting the 10th week of high school football in Missouri. So we're going to take a look at those standings as well in our next segment, so don't go away.
Deposit your check here or here or even there. Deposit your check wherever you are with First Midwest Bank's new mobile deposit. Just tap, snap, deposit. It's that simple. New mobile deposit from First Midwest Bank, serving the communities we call home.
You want to see me, sweetie?
Hello, Daddy. Have a seat, please. I need my own DVR. I work hard around here. When I get free time, I like to unwind to Good Luck Charlie.
Hey, no problem, no problem. We just got the boss from New Wave. Now we can record up to 6 shows at once.
6 shows at once? Someone's gunning for a promotion.
The boss from New Wave. Make TV work for you. Call 1-888-8-NEW-WAVE today.
And now taking a look at some other sports happenings that happened in the area this past week. I know Kennett won the Class 1 District 1 girls tennis district this past week. I think they won over Notre Dame in that final matches for team play. Kennett advances on. They're actually having the singles and doubles competitions today in Notre Dame. So Kennett looking to advance not only as a team, but sending quite a few singles and doubles teams in state tournament play as well. So Kennett continuing their very impressive Kennett program this year as well. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how that goes forward. Fall baseball season pretty much wrapped up this week. Cooter defeated Bernie in the Fall Classic Tournament in Campbell, and 2 very impressive teams over the past few years, and Cooter defeated Bernie in that Fall Classic Tournament in Campbell. And now let's take a look at the football standings going forward, and these are after last night's games. They do include last night's games. In Class 1, the district standings, Valley Catholic at number 1 with just over 57 points. 2, Monroe City. 3, Mark Twain. 4, Barrett Academy. 5, St. Vincent. 6, Crystal City. 7, Louisiana. And 8, Chaffee. Those are the district standings for Class 1, District 1. And these points are compiled through, it's kind of a BCS type of system, I guess you would say. And what that means is if you win, of course, you get points, but also your strength of schedule based on class size of the teams you play. You get more points by doing so, by winning against those teams. So if you lose against a smaller school, you'll lose points. So that's how those point system are compiled, as you see there with the points for each team. And moving on to Class 2 District 1, which we're getting to more local teams here. Malden rolling with their undefeated season at 7-0. They're currently at 49.8. 2, Crothersville. 3, East Prairie. 4, Portageville. 5, Hayti. 6, Kelly. 7, Scott City. And 8, Charleston. And these make up the district tournament, single elimination district tournament. So at the end of the season, say if this was going to be the end of the season, Malden would take on Charleston, the 1 and 8 seeds. Crothersville versus Scott City, the 2 and 7, and so on. So that's how the district tournaments are configured since a few years ago. They went to this new point system with 8 teams in each district, which there used to be 4. They combined the 2 districts into 1, as you see, with 8 teams kind of putting a BCS point system with the tournaments to compile the district tournaments each year. So Class 2 looks like Malden's going to run away with that. Class 2 District 1 first seed this year. And in Class 3 District 1, Park Hill Central with the top seed so far with over 54 points. 2 Potosi, 3 St. Pius, 4 St. Genevieve, 5 Dexter, 6 Kennett, 7 New Matter County Central, and 8 Fredericktown. And it's worth noting as well, the top 4 seeds get the home game. They get the opening home game as they'll host the 5 through 8 seeds in the first round. So the Dexter Bearcats looking at a road game right now with potentially St. Genevieve as the standings hold. They did play St. Genevieve on the road. They had to go back on the road for that 10th game of the season, the first week of district play. So you certainly want to try to get the 4th seed or better, because you at least get that first home game for the district tournament. Otherwise, if you're 5th or less, 5th through the 8th seed, you're probably going to play all of your games on the road, because if you were to happen to win that 5 versus 4 game on the road, you'd likely to go take on the top seed in the district on the road as well. So it's certainly a tough go if you're a 5th seed or less, because all of your district games are likely to be on the road. And taking a look at Class 4, District 1, Cape Central on top at number 1, trailing is Festus, 3 Hillsboro, 4 Farmington, 5 Sykeston, 6 Perryville, 7 North County, and 8 DeSoto. So some first round matchups look like 1 versus 8, Cape Central and DeSoto. Sykeston and Farmington matching up there with the 4-5 game between those two. And those are the Class 4 district standings this week. And Class 5, Jackson handily there at number 1, 2 Vianney, 3 Rockwood Summit, 4 Parkway South, 5 Oakville, 6 Fox, and 7 Poplar Bluff. And there's not 8 teams in this one, so I think this with 7 teams, the first seed gets a first round bye. So you would have Vianney taking on Poplar Bluff, Rockwood Summit taking on Fox, and Parkway South taking on Oakville. There'll be 3 games there, though, and I believe it would be the 4 or 5 game would take on the first round bye of the top seed, which currently is Jackson. So those are how the district standings are after 7 weeks of play. And there's 9 games in the regular season in Missouri, and that 10th game is the first round of the district tournament play. And after the district tournament play, that's potentially 3 games to win the district championship. You go into the quarterfinal round. That's 8 teams left of each classification. So there's 8 districts, and if you win that district tournament, you enter to the quarterfinal round for the high school football playoffs. So, and it's worth noting as well that you can, at the end of the season, you can, I think it's challenge the standings. So if, say if you're a 5 seed and you have someone in front of you that's a 4 seed and you might have the same record and you also beat that team head to head, you can actually make a challenge to jump that team to the state, file a challenge with the state to jump that team to take its place. So there is a little wiggle room with those point system. They're not actually set in stone, and there has been a few instances over the past few years that teams have leapfrogged a team due to having the same record and also beating that team head-to-head. So that's happened 2 or 3 times over the past few years where they've made some changes based on the head-to-head matchups and the record. So there is it's not certainly set in stone as it would seem with that point system. And we're going to take one more break and be back with your college and pro football matchups to take place this weekend. So don't go away. We'll be back with more coming up.
What is your emergency? Need assistance at County Road 61 and Highway 9. Help is on its way.
there's a better way to jumpstart your soil back to health. Apply Endzone to protect and increase nitrogen efficiency without killing bacteria. Apply Prevent to increase phosphorus availability and reduce fixation. Better yet, use them both to get more from your fertilizer investment and see higher potential yields. Ag Explorer, your prescription for healthy soil.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
The show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
And now let's take a look at some of your college football and pro football matchups this weekend as we end our show. 6th ranked Texas A&M at 12th ranked Mississippi State in the SEC. These are two very well performing teams at this time, especially Mississippi State. They've probably been the surprise of college football. They got a big win over LSU so far this year. Big matchup between those two schools today. Wake Forest is at top-ranked Florida State in the ACC. 7th-ranked Baylor at Texas in the Big 12. 4th-ranked Oklahoma at 25th-ranked TCU in the Big 12. 14th-ranked Stanford at 9th-ranked Notre Dame. Should be a good one there. 3rd-ranked Alabama at 11th-ranked Ole Miss in the SEC. 15th-ranked LSU at 5th-ranked Auburn in the SEC. 19th-ranked Nebraska at 10th-ranked Michigan State. And our local games, Louisiana Monroe at Arkansas State, and also Tennessee State at SEMO. And both Arkansas State and SEMO having homecoming weekends and homecoming games today for Arkansas State and SEMO. Tennessee State, I think 21st ranked team in the football championship subdivision as they go up against SEMO. Hopefully SEMO can get that win. I've already got a win over a nationally ranked team this year as they defeated Southeastern Louisiana earlier on. So some pretty big games nationwide. These conference matchups are starting to take place. Big matchups. This is probably the most anticipated weekend in college football, except maybe the opening weekend, but some big games. Probably the biggest matchups for college football so far is taking place this weekend. And take a look at the NFL football games this Sunday and Monday. The Bears at the Panthers, the Rams at the Eagles, Falcons at the Giants, Texans at the Cowboys. Who would have thought the Texans and Cowboys would be having the season they've had so far, both at 3-1. Battle of Texas teams this weekend. Ravens at the Colts, the Cardinals at the Broncos, the Chiefs at the 49ers. Nice little matchup there. Alex Smith, quarterback for the Chiefs, going back and taking on the 49ers, which he was drafted first overall back in 2005. So a nice matchup there between those two. Jets at the Chargers. The Bengals at the Patriots for Sunday Night Football. Should be a good matchup there as the Patriots got pounded by the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Certainly need to answer back with a win, but they're going up against the undefeated Cincinnati Bengals. Certainly one of the top teams in the league are the Bengals. And in Monday Night Football, the Seahawks at the Redskins. Should be a nice matchup there as well. So those are your matchups to look forward to this weekend. And that'll pretty much wrap up our show this week, and we appreciate you for tuning in as always. Look forward to seeing you right back here with us next week for the Roundtable. And until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have yourself a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you for some high school football next week. We'll go over those games again that we've got next week. We've got Park Hill Central at Dexter, and that'll be live Friday night at 7 p.m., replaying next Sunday at 4 p.m. Big Class 3 matchup between those two schools. And also Malden at Kennett. That won't be live. We'll replay it next Sunday at 7 and the following Tuesday at 6:30. So look forward to that Dunklin County Championship replaying next weekend here on YHC. And that's all we got for you, and we'll see you next week. And until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have yourself a great week. Take care, everyone.